Gotta get out of my bed. Gotta stop worrying about all my problems and focus on finding solutions instead. Change up the vision. Been on a mission to count on my blessings instead of my bread. I've been addicted to better in every component I know I control before I'm dead. Finally figure I've been that. If I'm talking, I'm making an impact. If it's hate on the way, then I skip that. If I said it, you know that I meant that. And in fact, I won't be throwing no stones. Rather be setting the tone. Oh man, I gotta get it, I'm grown, even if it's on my own. Oh man, enemies trying to get rid of me. Tendencies that'll turn kin to the enemy. Pretend to be with the team, here's my remedy. Focus on me and the things God getting me. With these seeds planted, grow my entities. Been going hard, the intensity, how that work out, splendidly. Focus on me and the things God getting me.
Damn, I was muted all that time. I was talking and no one in the comments. There you go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, I was actually muted. I do apologize for that. I was actually reading what you said, Collector. You said, hey, Nzo, I really miss seeing you and Brian this morning. I saw that he had a death in the family, so that's why we canceled the stream, but at least you're going live. Yeah, unfortunately, he did have a death in the family, and, you know, sending out my condolences to him, absolutely 100%. That is why we didn't do the show. He said he's going to be there from tonight, but I told him, like, listen, if he can't do it, man, don't worry about it. It's all good. But he said he'll be there. He said he needs to get his mind off of things and think about other stuff. So what up, G Major? How you doing? Collector Movie Man, thank you guys for popping in. Much appreciated. Now, I had to do this. I said I was going to talk about it anyways, right? I was going to talk about the He-Man show and everything. But then, you know, Danny did his stream. And I didn't really watch the whole thing because I was doing other stuff. So I watched some of it. Absolutely, G Major. Prayers to him and his family. But I know Danny didn't like the movie. So I got to come on here and I actually got to give a correct assessment of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, all right? Because I am telling you, that movie is fire, all right? Masters of the Universe was fire. Guess what, Collector Movie Man? I liked the movie, all right? Said I really liked Master of the Universe. I have already pre-ordered it on 4K. Good job. Get that out there, man. I went to go see it on Thursday night, and I was pleasantly surprised. It is exactly what I wanted it to be. If you were a fan of the Filmation He-Man cartoons, then you are definitely going to like this movie. See, Danny's not a real fan, right? We already know that, right? I also got the worst takes on YouTube as well. So, yeah, you guys watching this, you can let him know that I said that, all right? I know he's not in the chat there right now, but yeah, he has the worst takes on YouTube. Because you said you saw it Wednesday. See, I was supposed to see it Wednesday, but unfortunately I bought tickets for the wrong theater, and then the theater was like way too far to go to, and when I realized it was like 7 o'clock. The movie starts at 7 o'clock, and I'm like, oh my God, I brought tickets for the wrong theater. So I didn't get to see it on Wednesday. So I had to wait until Thursday. I did a double header on Thursday. I went to go see Masters of the Universe, and then right after that I went to go see Scary Movie. Scary Movie was all right. Probably do a review for that too as well. But Masters of the Universe, whoo-wee. One problem that I thought I was going to have with Masters of the Universe, and I said it before I seen the movie, is the Earth stuff. I'm like, if they're on Earth too long, it's going to piss me off. Fortunately, they weren't. They were only on Earth for about 15 minutes of the movie, right? And that was perfect for me. As much as the Earth stuff kind of dragged on a little bit for me, but it was fine. You know what I mean? I didn't want them spending the whole movie on Earth like they did with the Dolph Lundgren run, because that one was just trash. Because they spent on Earth, the whole movie was on Earth, and it just made no sense whatsoever. Collector said, how was Scary Movies? I've been hearing not such good things about it. I heard it's not that funny. There's funny moments in it. Collector. But I think people, like I'm hearing people saying, oh, well, there was no plot. It's a scary movie. Not supposed to be any plot to a scary movie, right? There's some definitely funny moments. Is it as good as the first two? Absolutely not. But it has some funny moments, you know. So I would say if you want to see it, go see it. You know, don't be like, oh my gosh, everybody's saying it's trash, and I don't want to go see it. You know, it's probably going to make more money than He-Man this weekend, which kind of sucks because I know everybody's waiting and they want He-Man to do good so they can do Thundercats. And I'm gonna give you a little hot take. He-Man to me was always better than Thundercats. As much as I like Thundercats, He-Man was always better than Thundercats for me. But this movie felt like the film animation, right? I'm going to go through some of the things. Probably going to have some spoilers on there too as well. So if you didn't see the movie, you might not want to listen to some of the stuff that I am going to say. But first off, I'll start off with Prince Adam, He-Man. All right. I know what Danny's biggest concern was. Danny's biggest concern was Prince Adam was kind of goofy, I guess. I didn't have a problem with it, right? Because we watch these movies, you see character developments, right? And that's exactly what this was about. Yeah, he was a little jokey. Yeah, he did some things. There's one scene that he did that I didn't actually like. But he did some things that were kind of goofy in it and stuff like that. And I didn't have a problem with that, right? You don't have Orko in there. So Orko wasn't in the movie because Orko is usually the comic relief. Orko wasn't in there. You know what I mean? So they had to go somewhere. They had Prince Adam. I think Prince Adam's character development in the movie was absolutely good. I think they did a great job. Collector said, I'm surprised Jared Leto did good as he did job as Skeletor. He surprised me, and I thought Beastman looked really cool. This is the one thing that I loved about the movie Collector. Because when I seen all of the He-Man characters in there, I was like, oh yeah, I used to have that. Oh yeah. And they looked accurate. You see, this is the one thing that I think was the best thing that was done. Trapjaw was fire. I love the way Trapjaw looked. I was like, okay, they did a great job with Trapjaw. Not to mention how they got their names, right? So we already know the names of these characters. But they kind of did it in the movie to make it be like, this is how they got their name. And it's what Adam used to call them after he got sent back to Earth, right? And he was drawing them down. He remembered them, but he didn't know their names. So he gave them names, right? So he gave Trapjaw the names. It was Trapjaw, Mechaneck, you know what I mean? Fisto, right? So he made up all the names, and those were the actual names for the characters. So I thought it was really, really done well. I said Trapjaw was a beast. He was awesome looking. Yeah, definitely. Now, of course, the movie starts off with them on Eternia. And I could say the parts where they're training Adam was kind of like, meh, as a kid. Okay, I get it. You know, but you want to get to see what type of character Adam is, right? Because he goes from this character who doesn't want to be a warrior, he's not a fighter or anything, to becoming He-Man. That's what the character development of Adam was in the movie. Did they take some liberties from the cartoon? Absolutely 100%. You know, but when you really go and think about it, and you really think about He-Man lore, they only really started giving us real He-Man lore later on. The original ones was just, you know, one-off cartoons because they were doing it to sell the toys, right? So there was no continuity in it whatsoever. You know, you go back to it, Adam wasn't as goofy as is in the movie, but Adam wasn't that, like, he was nothing special in the cartoon either, right? We didn't go watch these movies for Adam. We wanted to see He-Man, right? And that's what we did. And they did a great job with it as well. You know, I'll go back to what you said about Jared Leto. So let me say this. Of course, it was just his voice acting. But I think the one thing that a lot of us were worried about was how is Skeletor going to sound. And to be honest with you, he killed it. He did a great job, right? I remember when we were watching the cartoon there, He-Man, Masters of the Universe Revelations, that crap that's on YouTube, right? I think one of the most critical mistakes they made in that, well, other than a lot of the story, but they gave Mark Hamill Skeletor. And every time Skeletor talked, I seen Joker, right? Every time he talked, I was like, oh, that's Joker, right? Because Mark Hamill was using his Joker voice for Skeletor. So it didn't really work for me. You know, Mark Hamill's a great voice actor, but him doing Skeletor and sounding like the Joker did not work for me. But watching this one and hearing Jared Leto's voice, I say, yeah, that's a great voice for Skeletor, because he was not just comedic moments, but he was menacing too as well, right? And if you know from the Filmation cartoon, Skeletor was a fool, right? Skeletor was a clown in those things. Like, he was always getting clowned out. He's always doing, being made fun of. And I think in this movie, they didn't really do that, Yeah, he did his thing. He called them names, right? He did the scene where has the king there and he's talking and he raises his hand and no one says anything, and then he's like, oh, I'm done. And that's Skeletor. That's the Filmation He-Man that we grew up on. That shit was fire, bro. The action scenes, I think the action scenes were absolutely amazing. The first fight we get is with Trapjaw and Man-at-Arms, right? That shit was fire. That shit was absolutely fire. Now, for those of you that know or watch the movie, of course, Man-at-Arms does lose that fight. Then he turns into a drunk. And I know that's the problem that Danny had too, was Man-at-Arms being a drunk. But technically, if you go back to even Revelations, I think Man-at-Arms was kind of like, apathetic. He didn't care. Apathetic. He didn't care, right? Until, he did. So I think that was good too. And I can understand, Man-at-Arms being upset because he failed. The king has been gone for 15 years. The king queen been gone for 15 years, right? And he failed his job. That was his only job, was to protect the king, protect Adam. And he failed at it. And he became a drunk. Now, again, that didn't last long. That was like 5 minutes of the movie, right? He did a little drunk thing, blah, 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 blah. Then they get on a ship and and then after that, he's Man-at-Arms again. So, who cares? It wasn't a real big part of the movie, all right? You got to understand that certain people handle things differently, and that's how they had him handle it. I had no problem with that. Evelyn, the character that played Evelyn, didn't really have much to do in the movie, but I thought she did a good job as Evelyn for what she had. Tila, again, another one, had a little bit more to do in the movie, but for what she had to do, she was great. Now, there was one woman, the one that kept pushing Adam as a kid. I don't know who that was, because they show a fight scene with her, and it looked kind of cool, but I don't know if that's any He-Man lore, what her name was. I don't remember or anything like that, so not important, right? You had Ram Man in there. Ram Man looked fire. Fisto looked fire. You said Beast Man. The only problem I had with Beast Man is he wasn't red enough. You know what I mean? Because, look at the cartoon. He's a dark red, orange, whatever you want to call it. And I think his color could have been a little bit different. But other than that, scene with Moss Man, right? And Skeletor's like, who is that? She's like, it's Moth Man. And I was like, okay, I like that. That's fine. You know what I mean? And then they killed Moss Man. Has Moss Man ever been an important character in He-Man? Not really. So the fact that they killed him off, I didn't have a problem with it. Not a problem with it whatsoever. I thought it was... pacing was a little bit off, But when he first... Okay, so here's the part that I didn't like, right? So after he gets the sword and he goes to Eternia, they get to that little platform and they're being chased by, Trapjaw and all of them. And Trapjaw on the platform, he's like, oh, I used to do this for a living. Let me go talk to Trapjaw, right? Let me go have a discussion with them. That part I didn't like. I was like, really, dude? So first off, they have your parents, right? Or you think your parents, well, I think they thought they weren't told he was dead, but, they had the parents. So he knew something. Even if he thought that his parents were dead, you're not going to go and have a conversation with the dude, right? You're not going to have that. You're not going to feel that way. You're not going to go, let me go have a conversation with him. And then he goes to have a conversation with him, and he has to dodge all of his moves. But then he grabs a sword. He says, By the power of Grayskull, I have the power. And boom, he turns into He-Man. And we got to remember, because I know Danny likes to use this a lot. Yes, I'm calling you out again, Danny. When you talk about that crappy ass movie, The Batman, it's always like, oh, remember, it's just his first years, blah, blah. Well, this was He-Man's first time as He-Man, right? It was his first time. So he didn't really know what power he has. You know how strong he is, right? And fucks up Trap Jaw. Does a good job, right? So, okay, this fire. And then they get in the ship, right? What's up, damn, it feels good to be real? Real? Raiden? I don't know what the line. Hold on. Damn, it feels good to be a raider. I got you. He said, by the power of steroids. Okay, so here's a question. Not really a question, but a question that was asked to me. Actually, Terrence asked it to me. He asked me if I had a problem with He-Man's size. When I first seen the trailer, I kind of did. But then I watched the movie, I'm like, no, I don't. Because not like Skeletor was this big, imposing, muscle-bound thing either. So I think they did a good job with it. I had no problem. He said, I have no neck. I feel you. So I didn't have a problem with his size. I thought it was okay. Like, could he have been better, bigger? Probably. But I didn't have a problem with the size. It wasn't an issue for me, It had some funny moments, some funny jokes in it that I thought were funny. But it really had some great fight scenes, The first time he meets up with Skeletor, right? And Skeletor has his father there and they're having a conversation because Skeletor wants the sword, right? Calls his henchman, and He-Man just goes and he goes and fucks him up. You know what I mean? Like, he beats up everybody. And then his father, King Randor, spoiler, dies. Now, in the original cartoon, the king was always there. But I think later on in iterations of He-Man, they killed him off, right? So I think they were going with that when they did that, when they killed off the father. And I didn't have a problem with that. I thought it was okay, Of course, he loses the sword to Skeletor. He turns back into Prince Adam. And then he rallies the troop to have this big big battle at the end. Which is another thing that Prince Adam would have done. He said, hey, Nzo, where do you rank it on your favorite movies so far this year? Master of the Universe is number 3 or number 4 ranked? I don't know, Collector. I'd have to really go and see what movies I've seen this year and then put it where I put it. I'm not going to run to this, it's my first or second or third movie, best movie of the year so far, because I don't know. I don't know where I'd put it. It's good. It's definitely better than Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat was trash, right? It's not better than Michael. Definitely not better than Michael. So, but yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I'll come up with a ranking for it one of these days, But it's definitely one of those movies that I can watch over and over again. Would I buy it? Maybe. I don't really collect like physical media and stuff like that. But if I did, I'd buy it. What else did I say? Okay, so I don't know. I think I seen one part where Danny was talking about how they kind of like punked off Adam, and I don't see that. I don't think they did that. He said, I have Project Hail Mary as my number 1 movie. Number 2 is Michael. Number 3, okay, I got you. Project Hail Mary was good. I don't know if I would put it as my number 1 though. It was good, but I wouldn't put it as my number 1. But yeah, I don't think they really punked off Adam. I think what they did with Adam, because I know he sent a message. He was like, "Oh, I didn't know Prince Adam was that stupid." I don't think he was stupid. I just think it was kind of goofy. You know what I mean? And you could have done without the Earth stuff, but you got to show where he is as an adult, because we've seen him as a kid. We got to see where he starts off as an adult and where he ends. That's what character development is, right? You have a character who starts off one way, and by the end of the movie, he's something else. That's character development, and that's exactly what they did with He-Man. Like, there's a scene where they're chasing the ship that him and Man-at-Arms is in, right? And then he gets into that little ship, which is a toy. It looked different in the movie, but it was definitely a toy. It was definitely a He-Man toy. Um, I seen it in I seen it regular. I didn't see it in Screen X or I didn't see it in IMAX or anything like that. Well, actually, it wasn't even in IMAX. Mando was still in IMAX, so I seen it on a regular screen, which is fine with me. It would either been IMAX or regular screen. I'm not a big fan of Screen X, to be honest with you, collector. I don't. Screen X is okay, but like okay. So my problem with Screen X is everything that happens in the movie is on the main screen, and it's just like things on the side that you see on the wall, like right background things on. And I was like, well, nothing special about this. It's same as watching it on regular screen. You just get to see background things on the sides of the wall. I'm like, okay, whatever. Which I understand because you don't want to be turning your head every time you look to see an action scene on this side of the fucking wall. You know what I mean? You don't want to see that. So I didn't have a problem with that. But Screen X is a little bit overrated for me. Um, what else can I say about this movie that I thought was great? So yeah, okay, so yeah, so they're doing the action scene. He gets in that little thing, which is a toy, like I was saying, but it's green, right? In the actual cartoon, it's that little green, like little speeder thing that he sits on, and then he gets blown up, whatever. Okay, there was another scene that I didn't like. So Man at Arms, he gets the gun and he's about to shoot some of the bad guys up there, and then Prince Adam's ship pops up. He's been being chased, and they're being chased by a bunch of ships, and he acts like he doesn't know there's ships behind him. And then Man at Arms is kind of like telling him to move out the way, and he's like waving, like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like they wanted to be funny, but that wasn't the time for that. That joke didn't land for me. But anyways, he jumps out of his ship, right, and then he lands on top of the ship that Tila's flying. And then one of those spinny things that come around. Hey, Jen, how you doing? Thank you for popping in. Much appreciated. One of those ships come around that had the blades on it, and he grabs it. And I was like, yes, that is freaking He-Man. He grabs it, he spins it, and throws it away. I was like, okay, I like that. I thought that was great. They have the robot. The robot, I know there was, and I say this, I say I had all the He-Man toys and stuff, shit, growing up. That I did not have. Because I know there is something like that, kind of a robot-y kind of thing. I didn't have that. But yeah, they get the robot, and we find out that they had to reprogram it because it kept trying to kill Man at Arms, which I thought was fire. But then they, put reprogram it to fight. Good job. It's fire, right? Because that scene where him and Man at Arms are protecting the castle, and Trapjaw's ship comes in, and they have that little fight, and Trapjaw's ship just fucking blows it up. Man at Arms freaks out. He jumps up there. Now, the only thing I'll say is I think he kind of killed Trapjaw too easy. I wish they would have had a better fight scene for him and Trapjaw, like, part 2, basically. But jumps in the ship, puts a bomb in Trapjaw's mouth, boom, Trapjaw's gone. Right? And I have a problem. I thought this movie had enough action in it to keep me satisfied. It had enough comedy in it to keep me satisfied. Is it a perfect movie? Absolutely not. But is it trash? Not one bit. It is not a bad movie at all. It's really good. It stays true to He-Man. It stays true to the Master of the Universe. Because here's the thing. I know you guys watch that freaking Revelations crap on Netflix, right? And I remember I had not an issue, but I used to have a back and forth with Rob on it, right? Where it was like, oh, no, it's not He-Man. It's Masters of the Universe. And we're... Listen, He-Man has always been about fucking He-Man. I do not want to watch a Master of the Universe show where Teela is the lead character or Man at Arms is the lead character. In the first season, they literally sidelined He-Man throughout the whole fucking series. They tried to correct that in the second half, and they gave us a little more He-Man in it, but it was still focused around Tila. That is the problem that I had a problem with. He said, "Oh Lord, Danny, your title might be going to Nzo." Wait, what are you talking about? As the worst YouTuber? How? Cousin T, you didn't like He-Man? You thought He-Man was garbage? Bro, if you guys think He-Man is garbage, I don't know what to tell you. I grew up on He-Man. I enjoyed it, and it reminded me of nostalgia bait. I guess you could call it that. It reminded me of the He-Man cartoons that I used to watch, you know? I'm looking forward to seeing Disclosure Day next Friday. I'm going to watch it, but I'm not going to pay to go see Disclosure Day. I don't care, to be honest with you, Collector. It looks good, but I'm not going to pay to see it. Really liked this movie. Thought it was done well. Not perfect. Not all the jokes landed, but it felt like 80s He-Man. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. Oh, I'm going to get to the 3 post-credit scenes because you are correct, right? But that's exactly what I'm saying. Did it hit? Did all the comedy hit? No. Was Adam a little bit goofy? No. Yeah. But it did feel like 80s He-Man cartoon. It really did. And that's what I want them to do, right? Because when we watch a lot of these movies and stuff where it's like, oh, you know, Avengers, Infinity War. Fuck, I love Infinity War. Infinity War is the best movie ever. But it's nothing like the comic book. You know what I mean? And, okay, wait, hold on. He said, man, it's too campy for me. That's all it was. Fun. It was not too campy. Was it campy? Yes, 100%. But the He-Man cartoon was campy, right? So if you grew up on the He-Man cartoon and you liked the He-Man cartoon, then how can you complain about the He-Man movie being campy? Listen, this movie is 10 times, a million times better than the Dolph Lundgren one, right? It is so much better than that crap, you know? He said, yes, but I wanted more when it was done. I also liked how it wasn't long in Earth, not like the... Exactly. That's what I was telling him earlier. I was like, there's up 15 minutes on Earth, which is fine. The Earth scenes, it did drag on. It was just like... But I kind of found... So we see the story of him as a kid, right? And then we get to Earth, and he's telling this chick on a date about where he grew up, and she's looking at him like crazy. That was funny. That worked. But a lot of the other stuff kind of was like with his roommate and stuff like that. I was like, okay, whatever, you know. But yeah. So, but like you said, they only stayed about 15 minutes on Earth, and then they sent him to Eternia. And from once it gets to Eternia, it just gets good from there. Like I said, and the fact that Skeletor felt like Skeletor. You know what I mean? Like, I love... Skeletor is the best part of the movie, to be honest with you. Jared Leto's Skeletor is the best part of that movie. Did a great job. A great job. And if you know about... He said, I agree it's the best He-Man movie, but the first half, Zoe, was rough. Nah. See, I don't know why... Okay, so you say the first half is rough. I'm going to give you what you're saying. But the first half couldn't have been rough because they had that nice little action scene with Man-at-Arms and stuff like that. And I said earlier, the training montage where he was a kid, I was like, okay, you can skip past this too much, right? But it has to do with character development, right? You're learning who He-Man is as a child, who Prince Adam is as a child. He's not a warrior. He's not a fighter. They belted that into your head in that first scene, that he was not a warrior. And then he ends up getting the power and becoming the champion. That's what it was about. It was the progression of the He-Man character. That's what you call character development. They did a good job with that. I'm sorry. Now, when it gets to the Earth stuff, there's a little carry on, 100%. But once it gets back to Eternia, that's when it really picks up. You know what I mean? And once he says the Grayskull chant, absolutely. I would have kind of liked a little bit more with the sorceress, right? So, for example, when Skeletor and Evelyn go into Castle Grayskull because Skeletor wants the power, right? So he's like, I have the power and it doesn't work for me. He's like, hey, why doesn't it work for me? And she says, we got to go to Grayskull. I'll put a chant on it for you and then it'll work. I kind of would have hoped they would have had a little encounter with the sorceress there. You know what I mean? Like, where was the sorceress when they were attacking Grayskull? She's usually in Grayskull. You could have had a little something with her and Evelyn going back and forth. They overpower the sorceress, and then they get to do what they did. But He-Man jumps in there really quick before they can even do anything, right? Adam gets the sword, says the chant, becomes He-Man again, and him and Skeletor have that final battle. And just like the cartoon, Skeletor has no chance. Like, Skeletor doesn't do nothing to him. He fucks Skeletor up, picks him up, throws him against the wall. Like, Skeletor ended up begging for his life. No, don't do it. Don't do it. That's He-Man. That's the cartoon. That's the 80s cartoon, right? Skeletor was never a match for He-Man. Never. So the fact that He-Man fucked him up. Now, I'll have a little bit of a problem because, again, you go with power scaling, right? And I get it. He-Man's a champion. He's supposed to be the powerfulest of all. But then if you do part 2, which I hope they do because I don't know what the box office is, but I heard it wasn't doing so well. So I'll check out the numbers tomorrow and see. Hopefully it does. But if they do part 2, you're probably going to have to power down He-Man a little bit, right? Because he'll just blow through everybody, right? Unless you bring in Hordak, which we see at the end credit scene, right? We see a She-Ra end credit scene, which was fire. I was like, oh yeah, okay. I like that they're connecting this with She-Ra, right? So She-Ra, the bad guy's Hordak, right? Hordak is very powerful, so maybe you can use Hordak kind of a way, not to depower He-Man, but to show he's really powerful and that He-Man's gonna have an issue fighting him, right? And then the first end credit scene, we see Orko. Orko wasn't in the movie, and I get it, but they'll probably have him in the second one. So they did, and the costumes were 80s accurate, right? When you see Prince Adam at the end, and he's actually Prince Adam, and he's in Eternia, and he has on that little Eternia suit, it's exactly from the cartoon. Teela's outfit, exactly from the cartoon. Exactly. I was like, yo, this is fire, right? And I remember I got a message from Donnie. He's like, yo, this is trash. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I don't like it. I was like, really? So I went in there, and I knew I was going to like it. The minute he said he didn't like it, I knew I was going to like it. I'm sorry. I just knew it. I was like, okay, Donnie don't like funny, right? Donnie don't like the campy stuff. I get it. But to me, there wasn't enough in the campiness to be like, oh, my God, this is trash, right? It's not Thor Ragnarok. It's not Thor Love and Thunder. Those movies are trash. And people cap for Thor Ragnarok like it's the best thing since sliced bread. And that movie is freaking trash. That movie goes from, because I remember watching it and seeing the beginning of it and like, oh, this shit is fire. And then they get to the planet and it's just like, what am I watching here? What the fuck are we doing here? Like, everything is a joke. You have the God of Thunder, right? They strap him into the chair, and they bring him down this tunnel, and he's fucking screaming like a girl? I'm like, what is he screaming for? It's the God of Thunder. And he's screaming? Like, what are we doing here? Taika Waititi, whatever, Titty, whatever, he ruined that movie. And then Love and Thunder was even worse. Them fucking goats drove me up a wall. Couldn't stand it. First time, funny. Second time, fifth time, okay, that's enough of these damn goats, right? That's enough. So, if you like Ragnarok, how can you sit here and say He-Man is too campy? You can count the campiness on your one hand in the movie. And it usually had to do with Prince Adam. But once he was He-Man, he was fine, right? And again, it's character development. So you know that moving forward, he may not be as goofy. You know? He's going to be more of a seasoned warrior. Again, I go back to the Batman, right? That's his movie. Oh, the Batman is great. The Batman is great. All right? Yeah, 100%. And just so you know, one of the reasons why I'm really calling out Danny on this is because the Spurs lost. It's 0-2. And he's been texting me some crap and it's pissing me off, right? You don't text me after my team loses with fucking laughing faces. You don't do that. And then I get to see a video of you talking about something that I liked and you didn't like. Oh, yeah, you better believe I'm going to call you out. You guys tell him, too. And send him up. Send him the link. Huh? Let him go back and watch this. So he knows. I don't know if he'll surprise you usually here. We must be busy. Whatever. It's okay. It's okay. You know what I mean? He'll get wind of it. He'll get wind of it. But like I said, if you're a He-Man fan, there's no reason why you shouldn't like this. If you're a real He-Man fan, right? The people that liked Revelations were not He-Man fans. Well, I won't really say that, but yeah, you know what? I will say that. Yeah. Because we know what He-Man is, right? It's He-Man. That's what we want to see. You know? And I think a lot of the times with some of these shows and some of these movies, they like to use the, male masculinity or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, no, that's what we want to see, right? I want to see He-Man do He-Man shit. And that's exactly what He-Man did. He-Man did He-Man shit. I don't think it was rough. I don't think it was campy. I thought it was great. If I had to give it a grading, I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10, to be honest with you. Other than the little stupid jokes that I didn't like, yeah, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I thought it was good. I liked it. I want to see it part 2. I want to see them make more cartoon movies, right? I know everybody's clowning for Thundercats, which I would love to see a Thundercats movie. But there's other ones I would like to see more, you know? So, Cops, Mask, you know. Thundercats was good, but Gargoyles. I would like to see a Gargoyles movie before Thundercats, 100%. And I think that's what they should do next, right? But I'll see if I can see what so far the box office number, at least what they're tracking it for right now. See if anything is different. Let's see, Masters of the Universe, box office, what they have it for. Scary Movie opening to 52 million. Masters of the Universe around 31. Yeah. I kind of knew Scary Movie would do better, right? Again, don't underestimate the power of black people. Really don't. You see what we did for Black Panther. You're seeing what we're doing for Scary Movie. Scary Movie will probably make 100 to 200 million off of a $30 million budget. So it's going to be very profitable. I think He-Man was a $2 million budget, so it needs to make about $200 million budget. So it's going to need to make about $600 million to be profitable. I don't think it's going to do it. It would have had to have a stronger opening weekend than that. Now, granted, I seen more people in Masters of the Universe than I did in Mando. But I'm not saying much because Mando ain't doing so well either, right? So, I don't know. Was He-Man... Is He-Man too nostalgia? People don't care about it anymore. Could be all of that, right? When you ruin... So, when you make a movie, the first movie, trash... Then you do a couple cartoons. Only one of the cartoons was really good. I think it was the one in 2000. And then you do one on Netflix that nobody likes, right? Just a few people. And then you do a movie. You have 3 failures, maybe 4, depending if you count the cartoons, in a row, where people are like, this is probably going to be a failure too. Hopefully it'll do better because word of mouth, because I know there's a lot of people other than Cousin T and Donnie, everybody I've heard about so far likes it. You know what I mean? I'm thinking of seeing this, but I'm really waiting for Evil Dead next month. You know, Evil Dead needs to be good because it's one of those franchises that I'm like, maybe they should put this to rest. You know what I mean? Predator, I think, should be put to rest. Terminator, I think, should be put to rest. Like, we don't need any more of these movies. Alien should definitely be put to rest because Alien Earth was garbage. It was garbage. I don't want to watch anymore of these franchises that I loved being ruined, right? And Evil Dead 1, 2, and 3, fire. So good. The remake, wasn't feeling it. And this one coming up, I know the trailer looks pretty good, but I'll watch it for free. I'm not going to pay to watch it, to be honest with you. I'm just not, you know? Maybe they should. It's basically the same movie every time, but I can't help it. No, I get it. I get it. That's how I am with Saw. Saw is another franchise where I think they should. It's done, right? No more Saw movies. But if they make one, I'm gonna go see it because I love Saw. But I know it's probably gonna be trash because it's the same freaking movie and over again, right? And they did so many twists and turns in the original ones that it's just like, ugh. And I know nobody liked Spiral. I liked Spiral, but nobody liked it. So, yeah, that's another franchise that you need to get rid of, too. So, I get you, man. I get you, damn it. 100% I do. I'll be there, too. You know what I mean? If they do a Saw movie, I'll be there, too. I think I seen something is kind of slipping my mind, but I know they're doing another movie of something that I liked that I think like has been trashed for a while. Oh, yeah, well, I'm still going to see it, even though I know it's probably going to be trash. So I'm right there with you. I agree with you. But people saying He-Man is trash, I don't get it. I really don't get it. Like, I don't know what you're looking for. You have a good day, Anzo. I'm glad we both have another movie we like. Yeah, we getting there, Collector. We getting there. You know what I mean? We got a few that at least we're on the same page on, so we getting there. But again, like I said, and have a good one to you too, brother. But like I said, I liked He-Man growing up. Like, here in Montreal, we didn't get the cartoon on, like, TV. So I had to rent them, right? I had to rent the VHS, and it would have, like, 3 episodes on it, and I just watched that all weekend. I'd rent three movies, 3 He-Man with 9 episodes, 3 on each cassette. And that was my weekend, chilling, watching Masters of the Universe. Now, when you go back and try and watch these cartoons, they're hard to watch. I tried to watch a He-Man cartoon the other day, and I was like, boy, the things I used to like as a kid, but again, it was a different time, right? Because in the He-Man cartoon back in the day, they had regulations on TV which you couldn't do. Like, He-Man can't punch nobody. Like, you couldn't punch nobody, couldn't do all of this. Like, very, very censored. As a child, growing up, very censored. You know what I mean? So, but one thing I did like that they did in the movie is at the end of every He-Man cartoon, you would have He-Man come on and he'd give this little, well, this is what happens and blah, 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 and the scenario, and if you see this happen, make sure you tell an adult and stuff like that. And they kind of did that at the end, in the end trailer with Orko in this one. And who better to do it than Orko? You know what I mean? There was, like, nobody else was better to do it than Orko. So, I thought it was fire. Last end credit scene they had was Evelyn picking up Skeletor's head. And just like in the movie, right, you hear his laugh like in the Dolph Lundgren movie, and it pops up, I'll be back. In this one, you just hear Skeletor's cackle, you hear his laugh, ah, right? So we know Skeletor is going to come back. I just don't think it's going to get a part 2, guys. I think it's one and done. because it's not going to make enough money for them to justify to do in part two. And if they decide to do it with a lower budget, it's not going to be the same. You know, they're going to like, oh, put it back on Earth and they invade Earth and stuff like that to get the budget down low because you don't need to do all that CGI and shit. Yeah, it's going to ruin the movie. 100%. I would have liked to seen more bad guys, right? Merman. I know there's a scene, and I seen a picture of it where Merman's standing in the background, but it looked like he was standing with the heroes. And from what I remember, Merman was a bad guy. I think. It's been a while. I don't know. I'd have to go back and check. But I think Merman was a bad guy. But yeah, you got Merman. You got the one, and I don't remember his name, but you got the one with the two heads, right? That would have been nice to see. So it would have been good to see a lot more of the villains in there, right? Because you got a good amount of good guys, right? You had Manny Faces, not Manny Faces. Manny Faces were a good one to see. I would have loved if they put Manny Faces in there. But you had Ram Man, you had Fisto, you had Man at Arms, you know, so Tila. So the good side was, the good guys were represented well. I think we could have represented the bad guys a little bit more, you know. I would have liked to seen more fights between the good guys and the bad guys. So Tila has a little fight with Evelyn. That's when I thought they should have had Evelyn have the fight with the sorceress, right? Tila can hold her own with some of these guys, so you could have did that, right? Or you could have had Tila holding the fort, right? Man at Arms inside there, and Man at Arms in there fighting alongside He-Man or something like that. But yeah, Merman was a bad guy, and the two-headed was called Moldog. That's it. Thank you. Merman was a bad guy. Yeah, that's what I thought. Merman was a bad guy. But in the picture I seen, it looked like he was with the good guy. So I'd have to go and look at that again. I just seen it in a quick flash, you know. But yeah, Moldoc was fire. Like, those are the kind of things I would want. And then they had this, the red one with the horns. I don't remember that. And I believe the old looking one with the gray hair, I'm sure that was a toy. 100%. I'm not quite sure. I believe it was. But I also believe it was in the Dolph Lundgren movie, too. Oh, and there was one scene where they showed the robot, right? The little flying robot there, and Fisto punches it. It's a really quick scene. If you blink, you'll miss it. I was like, yeah, I like that. I like that they put that in there. You know, they did a lot of new stuff, but they kept with some of the nostalgia that He-Man has been and what we've seen and what we know growing up. And we talk about it all the time. A lot of these movies that they're making are for new generations. He-Man was made for us, right? For the ones that grew up with He-Man, the ones that grew up with us, this is what this movie was made for. It wasn't made for the new generation because they don't know who half of them don't even know who He-Man is. And some of them, their first introduction to He-Man was the fucking Revelations crap on Netflix, right? So when you look at this movie, you can 100% tell that this movie was made for my generation. For me, for people who grew up with He-Man. How can I shit on it? You know what I mean? When you did exactly what I want you to do. I seen Brandman, he posted on, he said He-Man knew the assignment. 100% they did. 100% they knew the assignment, and they did a damn good job of this movie. Really good. I can't praise it enough. You know, action scenes fire. Perfect movie? No. But the action scenes, the fighting, Skeletor and He-Man's fight at the end, He-Man beating up on Chopjaw, you know, all of that was great. The first fight scene with Man-at-Arms and Chopjaw was great. Was really good. Was really well done. Right? So to say the movie is trash because there's a little bit of corny stuff in it, a little bit of silliness in it, I've seen worse. I've seen Ragnarok. I seen Love and Thunder. Those were 10 times worse. Garbage. So I didn't have a problem with it. And I think it's spread out throughout the movie to where it's not overwhelming or overbearing. LDG, what's up, brother? How you doing? Yeah, I know. Still not the boys. I know. It's still not the boys. Still haven't done the boys yet. But I'm talking about Masters of the Universe. I hope you watched it. I think you would like it. Like I said, if you really like the old 80s nostalgia Masters of the Universe, then there's no reason for you not to like this movie. I just think they did a great job, There was one scene where Tila was getting something, and she's like, "Oh, your frill's in my face," right, from his fucking dress or whatever he was wearing. But yeah, LG said, "I think I might." Oh, you will. You will. It's there on a couple of the sites. I know you know where to find it. You should watch it. You should watch it, LG. I think it's good. I think it's good. I think the worst, the one of the things that people were worried about the most was Skeletor. And Skeletor is the best part of the movie. Skeletor did fire. I like the way he looked. I like the way he talked. I want to see how Ran-Man does his thing. Does it great, LDG. 100%. Ram-Man does his thing great. Mechanic does his thing absolutely great. Fisto is Fisto, right? So what? He just punches shit. But Fisto did what he had to do. But Ram-Man, yeah, Ram-Man was fire. Ram-Man was fire. They did it. They did his powers good, And what you'll like, I think, is one of the things I like is how they say how they get their names in the movie. Right, because we know them as Ram-Man and Fisto and Trap Jaw, but in the movie, the way they get their names is like, okay, that makes sense. I like that. Because their names are silly. Let's be real. Merman, Mossman, Trap Jaw, Man at Arms, Manny Faces. You know what I mean? Their names are silly. So the way they did that in the movie made 100% how they got their names, So I like that. And then even He-Man's name, right? They explain it at the end too, like that. And I was like, okay, I like it. It's fucking fire. Fucking fire. And there's 3 end credit scenes. 3 end credit scenes are great. Underused characters, I would say Eva Lynn was pretty underused. I thought she would... See, Eva Lynn is pretty evil. I didn't feel evilness from her in this movie, though. I'll say that. I didn't feel evilness in this movie. This movie, I think, is going along the lines of Skeletor is forcing her to be the way she is, But we'll see. Ram-Man is the first Juggernaut. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, LDG. Fisto's name sounds pornographic. And they use that in the movie, right? They use that in the movie. They use that, Fisto. He's like, yeah, because he likes to fist people. I was like, okay, I get it. So they use that kind of humor in it. It was well done. This movie is just made for us. There's no doubt about it. If you grew up on He-Man, you should like it. Unless you're the worst take person on YouTube, then you probably might not like it. You know what I mean? But we only know one person who pretty much has the worst takes on YouTube. You can call me Darth Kaka. I embrace it 100%. But I don't got the worst takes on YouTube. That title belongs to Mr. Danny Graham himself, a.k.a. The Road to Wisdom. That is correct. Shit, even when you watch his stream, he has it on his fucking banner. The worst takes in YouTube. So how am I supposed to listen to the worst takes in YouTube talking about how trash this movie is when it's not? I don't get it, And I'm trying to think of corny movies that he did like. I think he liked Ragnarok. I believe Danny liked Ragnarok. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe he liked Ragnarok. And if you like Ragnarok, then there's no fucking reason why you shouldn't like He-Man. I don't. I don't. I don't. Like, I'm at a loss for words. If you're gonna tell me that you like Ragnarok, but you think He-Man is trash, now I understand why you got the worst takes on YouTube. Sorry. Sorry. You know what I mean? But I know he's gonna see this video, and then I'm gonna get a clap back video from Danny, and then I'm gonna have to clap back on him again. So yeah, you guys are probably gonna be a series of these videos, all right? I'm just letting you know. Did Danny like Wakanda? Absolutely, LDG. You know Danny liked Wakanda. You know he loved that movie. Yeah. Listen. I gotta take a puff for this one because shit, he liked Endgame. Endgame was good too, LDG. Don't start with your Endgame hate. Don't start that. But I will say this: he liked the fucking Book of Boba Fett. That should tell you all you need to know, is that he liked the Book of Boba Fett. Wanda. Oh, Wanda, not Wakanda. I got you. Wanda. He didn't like the first 3 episodes, the black and white ones, but as it picked up, I think he liked it. But yeah, let that sink in. Book of Boba Fett was garbage. Absolute garbage. And he liked it. I'm just saying, at least with me, I'm consistent with things that I do not like and what I do like, right? I am consistent with it. Did he like the Acolyte? I don't think so, but I don't think he hated it either. All right? I don't think he hated it either. I don't remember. I know there were a few episodes that he probably did like. I know the one episode with the lightsaber battle he liked, which I liked too. I thought the lightsaber battle was good. That was the one episode. But as all in general, nah, that shit was trash, bro. Acolyte was garbage. You know, I was surprised when he said he didn't like Mando. I was like, wow, because I didn't like Mando either. But Mando is fucking better than Book of Boba Fett. I'm just saying, Mando is better than Book of Boba Fett. Book of Boba Fett was absolute fucking trash. They put a fucking dress on fucking Boba Fett. What are we talking about here? Yes, I know it wasn't technically a dress, but it looked like a dress. Like, why? Doesn't work for me. So, you know, I get it. He-Man may have been a little bit campy for some people, but I don't understand how you can complain about campy and like Thor Ragnarok. Or complain about campy when that's what the cartoon was, right? The original cartoon was campy as hell. Skeletor was a joke in that cartoon. At least Skeletor wasn't a joke. Skeletor was menacing. Skeletor felt like he could kill people. He did, but he felt like he would kill people. You know what I mean? He felt menacing. In the cartoon, he's like, I'm Skeletor, and he's trash. You know? But at least in this, again, they stayed true to the He-Man cartoon, because at the end, when they had to fight, He-Man fucked him up. He-Man did what He-Man does. Fucked up Skeletor. Like it wasn't even a fight. He fucking picked Skeletor up and threw him around like it was nothing. And then broke his fucking staff. Doesn't get no better than that. And then we get this great tease for part 2 with She-Ra? What? And Hordak? What? Which is something he said he wanted to see. And you're seeing it. But we'll probably not get that movie because it's probably not going to make enough money. It's not going to make enough money to make a profit. It would have had to have amazing opening weekend. And if it's only going to end this opening weekend with 31 million, That's not good. That's not good. I don't think anything really opens up next week, but I know Disclosure Day is coming, Supergirl is coming. You know what I mean? A lot of these movies that people really want to see are coming out. So for He-Man not having the opening weekend that it should have had, or they wanted it to have, is not a good sign. It's really not. So if you're expecting to see a Thundercats movie now, don't. Don't expect it, because He-Man didn't do good enough for that, unfortunately. So, or at least so far. Maybe it'll have a great second weekend because word of mouth means something. Actually, let me see what the Rotten Tomatoes on Masters of the Universe is. Let me see. Rotten Tomatoes, Masters of the Universe, 2016. So Masters of the Universe right now is sitting at 68% for the review, 66% for the reviewers, and 88% for the audience. That's about right. That's exactly, and I'm not going with the critics. I don't give a fuck about what the critics say. But audience score, yes, that's about right for this movie. And 88% is good. That's what it should be around, because it's a good movie. It's definitely a good movie, you know. So I want y'all to go check it out. You don't have to take my opinion for it, but at least go see the movie and make the opinions for yourself to see if you like it, and don't listen to any YouTuber, influencer, or any critic to tell you that the movie is trash, or not just this movie, but any movie. I say it all the time. You want to get my opinion and see what I think about it? Come and listen. You know what I mean? Come hear what I have to say. But at the end of the day, you need to go and make these decisions for yourself, right? Raptor Man 266 said it's a great film. I agree. I agree with you, Raptor Man, 100%. It's a really good movie. So you need to go check it out for yourself and make that decision for yourself, right? Because I don't think it's seen it twice now. Yeah, I'm definitely going to see it again, too. I seen it twice, too. First time I paid. Second one was, you were born in 81. I got you. I was born in 74, so around the same time. So you grew up with the original He-Man, so you know what I'm talking about, right? And a couple of you in the chat know what I'm talking about, too, when I'm saying, like, if you liked the original cartoon, there's no reason why you shouldn't like this movie, right? There was campiness in the original cartoon. There was campiness in this movie. Is it the best movie? Is it perfect? No, it's not. But it does its job. It does what it's supposed to do. It gives us freaking He-Man. Not Revelations crap. Gives us He-Man. And that's all we ask for. You know what I mean? That's all we ask for. Give us a good He-Man movie that stays true and absolutely. Taking the whole family in a minute, 5 of us, LOL. Yeah, I don't blame you. Take the whole family to go see it, right? Because, and again, see it as many times as you can. Anybody else in there likes it, see it as many times as you can. Because if it doesn't make a profit, we won't get another one. If it doesn't make a profit, we won't get Thundercats, we won't get Gargoyles, right? Because a lot of these old school things, and especially this movie, was made for us. Was made for 80s kids. We're all adults now, right? And the movie was made for us, and you could tell that when you watch it. You could tell that. So, yeah, man, go see it again. I'm going to watch it again for sure, 100%. I enjoyed it. I think they did a good job. It was one of the best He-Man adaptations we've had in a few years. Because the last thing we had was Revelations, and that was trash. That was trash. Actually, there was another one on Netflix, but it was kind of like one of the chicks was on roller skates, something like that. I can't remember which one it was called, but that was good. I was shocked at that. That was better than Revelations. I was like, hey, this is pretty good. You know what I mean? So that was good. But this is He-Man. Eternia. Oh, Cringer. Cringer was Cringer, all right? 100% Cringer was Cringer. Because anytime He-Man wanted to go to battle, Cringer was like, oh, do we have to? Like, he didn't want to do it. And that's what Cringer was. I know Cringer was a little bit more cowardly in the cartoon. They didn't make him that cowardly, but he didn't really want to, like, oh, do I have to? You know what I mean? And when they wrote him, it's like, oh, okay, one time. And then he said he had to have his battle armor. I wish we would have got the Cringer transformation, though. You know what I mean? Because you do see Cringer at the end with the battle armor. And I was hoping that they would have showed the transformation, right? They would have finished it off where he grabs it. He says, I have the power, grabs a sword, and he points at Cringer, and then Cringer turns into Battle Cat. I would have loved to have seen that transformation. And the one thing I will say, the last thing I will say before we get out of here, as I was watching this movie, I was like, man, the one thing they are missing, the one thing that would make this movie even better is to give us do 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 do, and then they did it at the end. They gave us the He-Man track at the end of the movie, right? And I was like, thank you. Thank you for putting that in there. Thank you for reminding people about the original He-Man score. He-Man, do 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 do, He-Man. I felt like the slowly powered up delivered a great ending, and I loved it. Yeah, me too. I'm right there with you, man. Right? Because I was telling people at the beginning, like, even though you say it's kind of corny and stuff, we got character development from Adam, because Adam went from this kid who wasn't a warrior, you know, his father was even like, yeah, I don't think he's built for this, to becoming He-Man and becoming the warrior, the champion that we know. So you got great character development in him from there. You know what I mean? Like, the action scenes were fire. Like, as much as you want to say if it was corny or whatever, but those action scenes take the cake for anything that was corny. It felt good. It was like, yo, this is what I'm talking about. You know? A lot of people complain that He-Man wasn't big enough. But for this movie, he was. He was. He didn't have to be. And I said it when I seen trailer. I kind of wished he was like, you know, like big like The Rock was. That would have made more sense to me. But then when you watch the movie, you see Skeletor is not that huge. You know, freaking Trapjaw had man titties. You know what I mean? Like, I was watching, I was like, hey, Trapjaw's kind of out of shape. You know, there's no shape in Trapjaw. So I was okay, whatever. I'm fine with it. And then there wasn't a problem. You know, and it made sense for the show. I get it. Beastman was a beast. I would have liked to seen a lot more with Beastman, because Beastman didn't fight anybody, and I wish he would have had a fight with somebody. I would have been fired to see him go up against Ram Man or Fisto or something like that. A lot of things I think they're probably saving for part 2 if we do get a part 2. But yeah, I would have liked to see a little. Like I said, I would like to see a little bit more of the bad guys in action, right? The only one we really got to see in action was Trapjaw, you know. And again, the Trapjaw fight at the end, I wished it would have been a little bit more with that too. Like, they had a great fight. Man and Trapjaw had a great fight at the beginning. I think they should have gave us more of that in the second part, but Man-at-Arm, of course, coming out on top, you know, winning that battle. Because I was worried that we weren't going to see it, because I was like, wait, didn't He-Man kill Trapjaw? I thought He-Man had killed Trapjaw when they fought. All right, he pulls off Trapjaw's arm, and then he shoots all the people out there. I kind of thought, ooh, killed Trapjaw, but Trapjaw was just knocked out, so he didn't really kill Trapjaw. So to see him come back at the end, I wish that fight with Man-at-Arms would have been a little bit better, but I kind of liked it. You know, Man-at-Arms jumped up on the ship, put the bomb in his mouth, blew up his head. That was good. It was good. It was good. Yeah, so like I said earlier, I'm giving He-Man about a 9 out of 10. Yeah. 9 out of 10. Because it's not perfect. It's not perfect. I think the Earth stuff kind of dragged on a little bit too long, and, you know, it was only 15 minutes, but it felt like 15 minutes, to be honest with you. But once they get back to Eternia, that shit was lit. I was sitting in that theater, I was like, yo, this shit is fire. Like, every time something happened, I was like, yo, this is fire. I don't know what we're talking about here. Like, what is, like, yo, this shit is, this is a good movie, man. You know? And then even at the end, right, where Skeletor, the sword breaks, right? Skeletor stabs Adam with it. And then it's like, no, The sword was just a vessel. The power is always in you. And I believe they did that in one of the cartoons where it was like, yeah, the sword is the vessel, but you are the power. You know what I mean? You have the power. You use the sword to summon the power, but the power is really inside you. He said, agreed, 9 out of 10. Yeah. And I love that. I loved that part with it. I was like, okay, that makes sense, you know? So I enjoyed everything they did with this movie, man. If you get the chance to go see it, definitely go see it in theater. I think it's worth it, but don't take my word for it. Take your own word for it and go check out the movie, you know? I think y'all will really like it. I think y'all really like it. But with that being said, guys, I am going to close it up for the night. We will be back later on tonight for the watch party for From. So make sure to check us out there. And yeah, she said, I agree with you. Go see it in theaters. Absolutely, 100%. Make sure you go check that out in theaters because it's absolutely great. With that being said, guys, I'm outie. Make sure to check us out later. Brian, the Grizzly, Jen, we will be watching From Watch Party, Episode 7. It's going to be great, and I will see you all later. Peace.
I know that they're playing on my downfall, but I know my purpose here is bigger than me. Every time I'm lost, I find my way. Okay. I ain't never stressing. Okay. Bring on all my blessings. All my blessings. Let them lead the way. All my blessings. Hey. You ready? All my blessings. Hey. Yo. Gotta get out of my head, gotta get out of my bed. Gotta stop worrying about all my problems and focus on finding solutions instead. Change up the vision, been on a mission to count on my blessings instead of my bread. I've been addicted to better in every component I know I control for I'm dead. Finally figure I've been that. If I'm talking, I'm making an impact. If it's hate on the way, then I skip that. If I said it, you know that I meant that. And in fact, I won't be throwing no stones, rather be setting the tone. Oh man, I gotta get it, I'm grown, even if it's on my own. Oh man. Enemies trying to get rid of me, tendencies that'll turn kin to the enemy. Pretend to be with the team, here's my remedy. Focus on me and the things God getting me. With these seeds planted, grow my entities, been going hard. The intensity, how that work out, splendidly. Focus on me and